how do we train managers to make sure that they drive diversity on the field, that they have the right conversation, the right actions. Like when you recruit, you want to have a diverse slate, and those kind of things. So it's a very important initiative we have to support, the driving diversity across our operations.
Hi everyone, welcome back to the HR Leaders Podcast. On today's episode, I'm joined by Boris Pincot, who's a Senior Vice President of HR at Sodexo Live. During the episode, Boris discusses Sodexo Live's new People Ambition initiative, their commitment to having women represent at least 40% of its leadership by 2025, and how their Tomorrow's Leader program is accelerating employee development and enhancing their current and future leadership capabilities. As always, before we jump into the video, make sure to hit the subscribe button, turn on the notification bell, and follow on your favorite podcast platform so you never miss out. With that being said, let's jump in. Boris, welcome to the show. How are you, my friend?
Very good, Chris. Thank you for having me. Great to be with you today.
I didn't realize you was in the UK. We should have had you in the studio. If I knew you were here.
I would love it. I would love it.
Yeah. So before we jump in, tell everyone a little bit more about you personally and your journey to where we are now, and also a bit about the organization, because not many people may be aware of the new brand, Sodexo Live. So
Sodexo Live, yeah.
We'll start with you first.
All right. No, thank you. Look, I was born in France, French mother, German father. I got to spend many years of my teenage age in Dublin, in Ireland. I went back to France then to finish my studies. And then at universities, I studied both HR and business administration. This is what I like. It's really
what made you choose HR? Because normally no one chooses HR. Normally later in their career, what made you at a young age say, I'm going to do HR? Because that's quite rare.
Yeah, actually, that's a good question. And actually, I was at a career fair for my eldest daughter.
Oh, okay.
And I got the question: why would you choose HR? I think there were two main reasons. So first, obviously, this interest in people, having the passion around this. How the human mind works, what motivates them. That's one piece. And the second aspect is I felt really that HR was probably the most generalist way of being educated. I think it touches different aspects.
100%.
You don't want to be a specialist, and so I said, well, I should try this. And then, on the business side, I was always passionate about how business works. My dad was an entrepreneur, and so I wanted also to connect with this world. So that's why I did those studies. I then still wanted to be a generalist, so I joined a little consulting firm in France, and that was foundational for me. We had great missions out there. I learned how to influence senior leaders, how to drive change, how to learn what motivates people. I did this for 4 years, and then had two steps in my career. First 10 years in hospitality. I worked for Club Med. Mm-hmm. Are you familiar with Club Med?
Yeah.
It's a resort company that operates beautiful locations around the world. I led many projects there. It's really a people company, meaning you cannot imagine Club Med without their GOs, which is the way we name our employees there. And here it was really about driving transformation. This was a company that went through a lot. Think about September 11th, where everything went to a standstill when it came to travel and holidays. So I was the guy, who took all the projects that nobody wanted. Okay? Everything that was risky, complex. So think about deploying an HR system globally for a French company, revamping the benefits policies for all our GOs traveling around the world, also doing some organizational work. So I learned a lot there. I spent almost 10 years, and then I wanted to change. And so I changed everything. I changed the type of company. I went to a US company. the industry. I went to an industrial world, which also had a purpose. It was a fire safety, so everything that comes from smoke detectors, fire suppression systems. And I joined, so the company was called United Technologies.
Yeah.
And here I became a global HR. So my job now focused on growth transformation. So how do you build an organization? How do you attract talents? How do you build engagements that are supporting growth trajectory?
Yeah.
So I got to travel internationally a lot. My family also went with me, so we have 3 kids.
I was wondering that. So you're traveling everywhere. Do you take the family with you? Like, what's been the way you've managed that?
Yeah. We got to do it. So we lived in Central Europe, in the US also.
All over. Wow.
Yeah, in Germany also, and now finally in France. So we got to bring our family. It's an amazing experience for our kids. Our youngest son was born in the US. Our second daughter was born in Czech Republic.
Oh wow!
So we are really an international family. My wife is Czech.
There's a lot of different passports.
Absolutely.
In there.
And so, Chris, 2 years ago, I got the opportunity to join Sodexo Live at the peak of the pandemic. So it was an interesting period because obviously this was very challenging.
I can imagine, yeah. Literally your entire business, you can't operate.
Absolutely.
During that.
Absolutely. So think about a company, calling someone to say, well, we need an HR leader. We don't have so much business, but we are absolutely convinced that down the road.
I don't know how they convince you. Well, firstly, tell everyone what is Sodexo Live, and then we'll get into it a little bit, just for people that aren't aware.
Yeah. So Sodexo Live is one of the global leaders in hospitality experience. So what we basically are doing is delivering food services, bespoke hospitality for VIP. We do also hospitality ticketing. We do venue sales also for our clients. So basically providing hospitality services for clients. It could be stadia, it could be convention centers, museums, airport lounges. So we are everywhere where experience matters. It's part of Sodexo, the Sodexo Group, which is a family company based in France, but a really global company. We operate mainly in Europe, UK, France, Spain, in North America, which is our largest business. It represents 60% of our total business. And now we are expanding in Asia. We'll be in Hong Kong in 2 weeks. It's a company that basically employs 40,000 employees around across a year. Obviously not all of them are permanent, so we have basically 10-15% which are core employees, all the supervisors, the chefs, the salespeople, the marketing. And for the rest, and that's part of our know-how, we are what we say mobilizing the rest of our employees. So that's 85% of our staff of any given event.
That blows my mind that you have to scale with 85% of your employees. That's it.
And we'll come to this, but I think it's really about getting the right value proposition for those people, getting very, very well connected with our local communities. So it's a global company, but what I say, and today I'm visiting some operations, it's really also being really, really close to it.
You have to, right? Because if you're trying to hire for like a stadium, for a football game, you have to have that local talent, right? They can be flexible and that's engaged with the business to come and be there, right? So you have to be a global business with a local mindset.
Absolutely, and I think it's also about getting those people to like to come join us, but also every event come back. You're probably a fan of soccer, so you want to experience each time this and this is what we are doing in terms of venues. So we operate in stadiums, as I say. So in England we work with Fulham, we work with Everton. We work also in Scotland, the Hampden Park Stadia.
Mm-hmm.
We also operate in France for most of the large teams, except PSG. We love to work with PSG, but right now we are not working with them. And then mostly in the US also, we have a number of NFL franchise and baseball.
Nice.
And we do also large events, so Royal Ascot. So we are ramping up for Royal Ascot in June of this year. Many Super Bowls also we do in America. We operate also the Eiffel Tower. So many very very prestigious venues. So
if I need tickets for any events, you're the man I'm going to come to.
Absolutely. You have to experience this. It's especially when you have the opportunity to look at the front end of the experience, but also when you go in the back, in the back of the house, looking at our teams, it's really amazing. When you visit such events, to see the level of engagement, you have those shiny eyes from our teams. It's really amazing.
It's interesting because most people probably don't appreciate how much work goes into it in the back end. You're just experiencing the event as a consumer, but you don't really appreciate the extent of the work and the planning that goes into pulling it off, right, and creating that experience for people. Absolutely. So it must be interesting to see it from both ends. One as someone watching the event, but two then going back in the backstage and seeing how it all works as well is super interesting.
Yeah, it makes you very humble. Especially when you're HR, when your business is about people and making the people a business also makes you really humble because you see the level of preparation of distinct care about what is being done, but all the team pulls in to get this a success.
Well, tell me about some of the initiatives that you're working on now that you're most excited about.
Yeah. So maybe a little bit of background. So out of pandemic, Chris, we what we see is three things for our industry. First one is the Great Resignation. Okay, people have literally left our industry. I know it's all in the newspaper. When you live it every day, that's something. People just went somewhere else. So that's one change that is impacting us and our industry. Second change is the fact that the expectations from the employees also are very different. They think they care more about well-being, which is good, about flexibility also. Mm-hmm. And then the third aspect is the why, meaning, okay, I want to work for this or this company, but what's the purpose? And so we got with this, okay, our business ramping up, and we thought it was a great time to renew our people ambition. To come on the market, to come to our staff with a new people ambition, which is basically a way to re-engage with our teams internally, but also with our communities. Okay? Mm-hmm. To make sure that we obviously deliver on what the clients expect, but also we take this leadership in terms of being the employer of reference for the hospitality industry. So maybe some concrete examples on this. So one thing we've done is focus on development. Okay, and when you think about it, when you don't have the people are not there, and they expect different things. And as a big company, we decided to really invest heavily on development. So we have now talent programs across the globe, especially in North America. We have revamped also our internship programs. So basically, when you cannot hire people who are qualified, you have to qualify yourself. So now we have between 200 and 250 interns across the globe that we train to become then supervisors and managers. And then we focused on diversity. Okay, there's one thing that we really discovered through this pandemic is the importance of investing in diversity. So we have one program global called She Leads, where we offer young female leaders, okay, early career, the opportunity to engage with more senior ones, okay, to get training, coaching, in order to build this, female leaders community and for them to thrive. On this, we get good numbers. We have 40% of our operations leaders that we promoted are female, okay, and that's good. And then at the executive committee level, so our global leadership team, we're almost 60% now are female. So we have a majority of female leaders going on. So that's one example of what we've done through this People Ambition.
Nice. So let's delve into it a little bit more then. So the first part you mentioned about the development, how is this being delivered? Obviously, you have 85% of those members who are not in an office working with you. How are you connecting with them? What is the platform process? How do they access training? What does that look like?
Yeah, so it's a great question, because that's obviously a challenge ours. So it's a hybrid approach. Okay, you get a digital experience, because again, the way you approach and you attract, you engage, especially with the younger generation, is through digital. So we have invested in onboarding processes that basically give every of our staff the ability to basically have the basic knowledge about what they will be doing. The safety aspects, it's very important in our. We want our people to be safe, and then the values aspect. What is it to work at with Sodexo Live and in our volumes. Okay, so that's one aspect, and the second aspect is we are developing what we call academies, where we train, okay, in person, digitally also, but also in person, to make sure that our staff, gets the right training, focused on two aspects: the service, okay, what's the way I should do the service, how I should relate with the customers. And then the second aspect is the culinary for people who are the back of the house preparing. They
need a bit more training.
Yeah, exactly. It's training, because it's always things are moving. When you're a customer, you don't, and clients, you don't expect to have the same way of getting the food as you. So you want your basic, but you want also some innovations, and that's also something.
How do you do those? Do you do that training at the venue? Like where do you do virtual training for those staff?
Yeah, so it's mostly at the venues, but also we have two schools, one in France and one in Asia, where also we train.
Okay, nice. So you're developing that talent within. You're not just relying on hiring that talent in.
Yeah, that's one of the main takeaway out of COVID. If you wait for the market to provide you with the talents,
especially in your industry.
Absolutely, you have to train. And again, what is very interesting is the reaction from our managers. They love it. They really love it. It was you need to get them on board, but then having the ability to mentor, coach, early career, to make them then stay in our company is something that is absolutely.
Well, there's the investment, right? So like they can see that this is a company that's investing in me and my future, right? Which is going to obviously increase the engagement. And of course, then they're working the Sodexo Live way. Everyone understands this is the way we work from a very early stage in their career, which is great. Just out of curiosity, because I'm sure people listening are wondering, what platforms do you use? For example, in terms of your digital app, what do you have, like an LMS? And then in terms of your onboarding, what partners do you work with? I'm always interested to know which companies work with who and what works as well.
Yeah, so look, it's still work in progress, because I think that's something that is still on the market. There are different solutions. In the UK, we use an app called Flow, which is applicant flow, which is very, very interesting, because it enables actually to have modules in the flow. So you basically onboard your employee and
into that module. So
exactly,
and tracks.
Exactly, and then there's a track where you can monitor his or her progress around.
Nice.
around the training. And in France, especially for the Olympics, we have onboarded a new platform, new integration platform that is connected with ATS to make sure that, and we have invested in this to make sure that the digital onboarding is absolutely seamless. So we are still in the early phase of integrating this in our organization, but we look at it. There's a lot of things going on the market, and we take those big events to the opportunity to experiment, to invest in this. Obviously, we have a process and to make it happen in an effective way. But we like also to look on solutions. The other thing I can mention is a new app called Giggle. So Giggle is an app.
You say Giggle?
Giggle. Yeah,
great
Giggle.
name.
Yeah. It's a startup, but very interesting because it's basically a TikTok way
to connect with employees. Wow.
To connect with candidates and then with employees.
Nice.
It's amazing. So it's all through videos, okay? And basically, it's absolutely an immediate experience where, if you compare to the standard hiring process, this is the
light years away.
Different universe. It's 90-second videos. We post videos, candidates post videos, and then basically we
well, that's your audience,
easy.
Right? Your audience are people a lot. I'm assuming, and correct me if I'm wrong, are young, maybe first time into the workplace, just leaving university and school, looking for that first job. Is that fair to say?
Absolutely. We are experienced providers. What we are saying to our candidates is, you can be experience makers, okay? And when you think about the way to present like this, instead of saying I will be a chef or a cook,
show them it in a video.
Yeah, it's exactly. You are in the show. You are in the show. You are part of the experience. And,
nice.
And on this, it changes a little bit. We took this also from my Club Med years, where we did not recruit actually so much for the know-how. What was much more important was the attitude, the mindset, the ability to engage in something that was different, and this is exactly what we are looking for. And the interesting part is, it's the response is extremely positive.
Nice.
Because when you are at a young age, you want to learn, but you want also to experience things.
Of course, yeah, I love that, and I love the fact that you invested in something like Giggle, which is so connected to your audience, right? That's how they consume content. So why not, rather than trying to drag them into an old way of working, be present where they already are. They already enjoy that experience. You're just giving it through a different lens. So that's really interesting. So you mentioned the diversity side as well. So yeah. I know, speaking to your team beforehand, you want to have 40% of female leadership by 2025, if I remember correctly. Is that correct?
Yeah. Look, it's our goal, but between you and me, we're already at 42%.
Oh, well, it's going to be a lot more than me and you, to everyone listening on the podcast.
Look, I think, when I joined Sodexo, I asked this question. Said, how, I came from a very metrics-driven environment, being in a US company. And I asked this question during my interviews: how much do you care about diversity? And the response I got was very interesting. He said, look, it's part of our culture. Okay, it's part of who we are. So I like targets, but what my job is to make sure that from a culture standpoint, from what we do, we are living this diversity, and this is what we're doing. That's why I say we're probably already over target. That's for sure. My boss, Nathalie Bellon, who is one of the owner of Sodexo, is obviously a woman. Our CEO is also our global CEO for the group is a woman. Our executive committee is 60% now female leaders, and so we really drive this diversity from the top, and then making sure that actions are being taken on the field to develop it. So I mentioned the She Leads program, which is an amazing program. It's a global program focused on networking. We are also developing for Sodexo Live leadership program, so next generation leaders program where we have 50-50% parity between male and female leaders, because we want also to make sure that we create the talent pool for more senior roles. So yeah, that's a very strong focus.
Tell everyone about the diversity learning lab, because I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, so it's a very good example of what we do, because it's about building the awareness on how do you manage diversity in your workplace. Okay, think about unconscious bias. That's one, and so it's how do we train managers to make sure that they drive diversity on the field, that they have the right conversation, the right actions. Like when you recruit, you want to have a diverse slate, and those kind of things. So it's a very important initiative we have to support, the driving diversity across our operations.
What I thought was interesting is when I spoke to your team, they said this is mandatory for all upper level managers. Which was great to hear that as well.
Yeah, no, it's important. Like, to give you an example, a part of the bonus for our leadership in North America is linked with diversity. Okay.
Yeah.
And again, not about targets. Okay, it's not only about targets. It's really about what you do. Okay, so we have, exactly to your point, a number of initiatives that are actually mandatory and that we are monitoring, and making sure that every leader gets those initiative rights and make a difference on a day-to-day basis for their respective teams.
Mm-hmm. No, I think it's super interesting, right? But as you said, it's not just about the numbers. It's about them demonstrating that, right, in their actions, in their words,
absolutely,
in what they do. Yeah.
Look, it's back to my point about difference of expectations. When you have new employees, the new generation of employees, they want proofs. Okay, they want the experience. Okay, and whatever metrics you can put, it's very important, because what you don't track, you don't change. But the experience is also very important. And so making sure that at every level of the organization, this is being a focus is definitely has an impact. Okay? One of our challenges is to keep our staff. Okay, we talked a lot about how do we attract them, but retention is also a big challenge. And if the experience doesn't match expectations, then I can tell you, people leave.
How does that work then? Because if people don't have, or maybe you do, like if you saying like in the UK, you have those venues you mentioned, you don't have events every single day. So how do you retain the talent when they're only working on particular days? Because they're like, well, I may need to make extra money in another job to fill that gap, if that makes sense. So how do you overcome that?
Yeah, that's really one of the things we are focusing on. So what we're trying to do is provide more opportunities for our staff to work in other venues. Okay, so we call it an around me strategy. So let's say, for instance, you work in London on the Bateau where I sit today. Mm-hmm. You have other venues. Okay, like National Gallery, we operate, and so we give the opportunities to this staff. Okay. To work in other venues. We do the same in North America. We do the same in France. It works very well. It builds also a sense of teamwork. Okay. It builds a sense of belonging. I think we'll come back on this. This is core to our people ambition, to build this belonging sense from our staff, because exactly to your point. So what will make the difference between working for Sodexo Live on a Saturday? Yeah, exactly. And then on a Tuesday, working, and this is what you build through purpose, through values, through also this commitment to give opportunities for our staff. So if we take Royal Ascot, and we are already preparing for this, thanks goodness we have are people from other venues helping for this event. So that's also a way to retain our staff, basically.
Yeah. And like you mentioned, you have like those internship programs, the mentoring programs, that also is bringing everyone together. They feel more connected, as opposed to I just get paid to go to this venue, I do my job and then just leave. That, that's not, you need to create more of an experience and that kind of glue that holds everyone together.
Absolutely.
Yeah, love that. So you're currently traveling quite a lot now. Are you kind of on like a listening tour? Because I was like, where are you going to be right now? And you said loads of different countries. Is that intentional for you to get out and visit the different sites? Is that why you're in London, for example, today?
Yeah. There are two things. The ramp up of the business has been a challenge. Okay, definitely. For our staff, for our managers, and I think it's important to actively go on exactly to your point, a listening tour to understand, listen, where we can help. That's part of our role as senior leaders. And then the second aspect is we obviously have hired and onboarding new people, and having regular check-ins. Okay, is also important, and you can do it through Zooms and Teams. But the best way is to sit and spend time talking about business, talking about their teams, talking about themselves. Yesterday evening, I sat down with our new CEO in the UK, and we covered everything, so that. Our new CEO, feels supported by our organization. It's part of our values at Sodexo and Sodexo Live. Is we are here. We care about our people at every level, and I think reaching out, being on the field, is the best way to demonstrate that we really care.
It would be really cool. A random idea. If your team listens to this, they should get someone to vlog your experience of traveling to these different venues all over the world, where someone kind of follows you with a camera and you kind of speak to those staff members in different venues, and then upload that to your TikTok platform that you mentioned as well. Because imagine that, right? They get to see different countries all over the world, different staff, different roles, and see it through a very short 30-second to 1-minute videos with the HR leader like yourself. That would be such a cool series of videos. So I would watch that. It. If you post that on LinkedIn or other platforms, and you today we're in this country, in this venue, speaking to this person, and ask him a question about their experience, that would be so cool. In terms of attracting talent as well, but also for you to share that as a brand on LinkedIn. It's random, but yeah.
I think it's a great idea.
Yeah. So I'm getting told off by the team that I have to wrap up the call, but I was enjoying it so much that I didn't want to let you go.
I haven't even half of what I wanted to say to you, Chris.
We had a lot more.
Episode.
We had a lot. Yeah, we have to do a part 2 as well. But before I let you go, what would be your sort of parting message to the audience? And then where can people connect with you and the team if they want to reach out and say hello?
Yeah, so my parting message would be that when you face challenges, okay, the best way is to go on offense, okay, and this people ambition at Sodexo Live is really about this, is making our company, our teams, the reference in the hospitality industry, and we have a whole set of actions that I could go through, and there are a lot of probably best practices that I could share. But really, being on offense and reach out. Okay, go like I do on the field. Talk with our people. I'm also talking obviously with candidates, with the external market, with recruiters, with communities, to make sure that our name is there and that the experience is great for our employees. That will be my parting message at this point.
Love it. And where's the best place for people to connect with you? On LinkedIn, maybe?
LinkedIn is the best. I'm posting on my visits.
Nice.
Usually, I post also some thoughts or some articles I read that I think could be relevant for us. I try to focus my LinkedIn really on the hospitality industry because there's not so much going on LinkedIn on this aspect. It's something that I think is worth advertising more. So this is This is what
I want to see some videos on LinkedIn of you at the sites, like I said.
You got it.
It'd be cool to see it. But listen, really excited for you. What an amazing opportunity, an exciting business. As I mentioned, I know Sodexo very well for many, many years, but when Sodexo Live recently launched, I was like, wow, okay, this is interesting. A whole new era for the business and an exciting one, especially coming out of the pandemic and where we are as well. So congratulations to you and the team. I know you're only just getting started. You're scaling huge, right? How many more thousand people do you say you're hiring? Before you said, how many people are you hiring now?
So on any year, we top up to 40,000.
Wow!
All right. Yeah, wow. That's a lot. And thinking out of the pandemic, we're probably 10% of. So that's a huge ramp up we are doing. But I'm very proud of the teams. That also, if I could say, I'm extremely proud of our teams. The HR teams, the operations team, all our teams. It's really, when you work for such a company, you have this intense feeling, but, without teamwork, you don't get where you need to be. And this is really where we are.
Especially in hospitality. When you're all of you, everyone is a part of that experience together collectively.
Absolutely.
As well.
Absolutely.
But listen, I'll let you go. Enjoy the rest of your trips, and I look forward to speaking again soon. But all the best. Thanks for coming on. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you for having me.